Welcome to the Classy Liberal podcast. I'm your host, Classy Liberal.
And I am your co-host, Classy Osvaldo.
Today's guest is one of my favorite YouTube users of all time. It's everyone's favorite black friend, Tyler Preston. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys?
I'm fine. I
I'm
gotta
good too.
I gotta tell you, Tyler, I've been following your channel for a really long time now. I remember back when you had the whole Indiana Jones type of opening. Like it showed the whole map thing. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I used to have that opening.
Yeah, it was like, you know. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember, like, you used to make videos on, like, a lot of things. Anime, Godzilla, lots of Godzilla videos. So, I want to ask you, Tyler, why start a YouTube channel? What got you interested making videos?
It's kind of like what you said. Like in the beginning of my channel, I was interested in talking about anime, movies, Godzilla, and those kind of things. However, what got me interested in talking about current events came from the idea of the campaign behind Ban Bossy. And back in, 2014, there was like a lot of people doing this campaign called Ban Bossy with Beyonce and some person from Facebook. It was like a woman. I can't remember her name right now. But basically, they were crying about how women are called bossy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got like, this is stupid. Like anybody can be called bossy.
Right.
And I think a long time ago I made a video about that. And ever since that event, I started to notice a lot of SJW stuff, a lot of political correctness. And I started to make more and more videos about those things. I mean, occasionally nowadays I might do like the occasional non-political video, but my channel has drastically changed into like more about current events than like movies or anime like in the beginning.
Yeah, so I was a really big fan of your channel back then. Sorry, it's just there's some feedback. I think that's from your side.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, that's a lot better now. I was a really big fan now, and then when you started to like talk about current events, I was even a bigger fan now. But that's weird because I remember one of your first political sort of current event videos was about atheism.
Oh yeah. It's true. I remember long ago I started making like videos about my thoughts about religion, about atheism. However, it seemed like I don't really talk about atheism on my channel that much anymore. I just tend to just talk about like politics, about social justice and political correctness. I guess my last video about religion or atheism was maybe like last week, but it was like my first video in a long time about religion or atheism.
Right. So let's talk about that. Why are you an atheist, Tyler?
Oh, that's a really good question. It started a long time ago. I think it was like during the mid 2000s. Like before I became an atheist, I was actually a Catholic. I used to attend Catholic school. I used to attend the Catholic church, and every single Sunday I would go to like the church and do the daily activities. At one point, I was actually an altar server before I started to quit the church.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you clarify that? An ultra.
Altar.
Oh, altar. I'm sorry. I thought you said
Yeah, yeah, it's an altar server.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for my pronunciation.
No, it's okay. Are those like the ones that like follow the priest around?
Like, yeah, basically the altar servers are like the people that give the priest like the books and also help with communion.
I see.
Yeah, basically like those people that help with the wine and the books, that kind of stuff on like the stage. Basically, I was that person, and I started to question my faith during my teenage years. It was through videos like Dark Matter 2525. I've seen people like The Amazing Atheist. I started to read the Bible myself and started to question about the stuff within the doctrine. And I started to realize, yeah, it does not make much sense to me. I don't believe in a God anymore. And so after that, I became an atheist. However, when I first came out to my parents about my atheism, they actually threatened to kick me out because I came out as an atheist. I remember really clearly, as soon as I came out as an atheist, I was called a Satan worshiper, and basically they wanted me out the house because I don't share the exact same belief systems as they do.
Would you say things have calmed down during the years though, or still things still like hostile?
Oh yeah, things are calmed down much better than what happened when I first initially came out.
Oh, okay, that's fine then. So I want to say, well, join the ex-Catholic club because both Osvaldo and I are ex-Catholics, and yeah.
Yeah, I noticed according to the data, like church attendance for Catholicism is actually at a all-time low in this country, at least. I think there are more people that don't really attend Catholicism compared to those who are actually non-believers.
You know, the Catholic Church is really interesting because I find it's like one of those. It's technically one of the most popular churches out there. I don't know what's the number, but last time I heard, I think there's like 1 billion Catholics. Although
Yeah, like 1 billion or 2 billion, I think.
yeah, like very like over 1 billion for sure though. But like it's always the religion like everyone leaves. Like everyone says, "Oh, I used to be Catholic, you know, and now I'm atheist or now I'm like something else," you know.
Right. Like I know it was like Jacqueline Glenn. She's an ex-Catholic, I believe. There's me. There's you. Of course,
Yeah.
your friend. Like almost all atheists I meet online are actually ex-Catholic.
I see. I see. Still on the atheist topic, Tyler, would you consider yourself an anti-theist?
Personally, yes, I do.
Okay.
Mostly because I think that in terms of the doctrine, like a lot of it is unfounded, and I'm purely against organized religions because of the unfound claims within the doctrine. I'm also against the corruption that organized religions have. Like, with the whole entire Catholicism thing, basically they're notorious, and I mean notorious for having pedal priests in
Yeah.
their and basically like when they're caught with the pedal priests, they would just move the people from like the different churches, and so they could just still screw over little kids. And so I think it's also corruption. There's also like the influence of what they do in Africa. I remember reading that basically what happens in Africa for people to convert to Christianity, what they do is tell people not to use condoms, and
Yeah.
and basically just try to convert them that way. There's also like the case with like Mother Teresa, where basically she tried to make people suffer to heal, to see Jesus and stuff. And just a lot of the stuff that they do is just disgusting to me.
It
I
is.
think it's just so fucking disgusting. And I think that you don't really need to have a religion to actually enjoy spirituality. And you can have spirituality without religion, even if you're not atheist.
Absolutely. I agree with that. But I want to know, were you always an anti-theist though? Because I think Nightmare Fuel, the YouTube user, might have had an influence on you.
Personally, I was always kind of against like organized religions before I started calling myself an anti-theist. I think when I first started to experience like the part when I started to almost get kicked out from my family because of their belief system and started to realize that yeah, this is not really good for us. I also saw news posts about how many Christians wanted to put like creationism into like the school systems, how many Christians wanted to put like the Ten Commandments right near government buildings, how our tax dollars is actually being used to fund that Noah's Ark theme park from Ken Ham.
Yeah.
And so I always seem to be against like people trying to use their religion again for political gains and also corruption and the unfounded documents in religion.
Okay, that's actually refreshing to hear. Cause my fear is like a lot of people in the atheist community, because like they're so focused on the anti, SJW stuff. They've gained like a lot of conservative followers, many of them religious. So I noticed a lot of them have sort of lowered their tone on like criticizing religion and stuff like that because they don't want to like piss off their Christian followers, right? And I noticed some of the atheists, YouTube users like Stefan Molyneux, and would even like almost say that like, oh, we're atheists, but we're atheists with Christian values, and they'll defend like Christianity so much when many years ago, they're entirely against it. Like, you don't see that as a problem?
Honestly, like my personal philosophy about that, if other atheists feel different about religion, I don't try to pay much attention to it.
Okay.
However, when it comes down to my own personal videos, I try not to be apologetic to any religion. Obviously, I think that religion is on a scale. Obviously, I think Islam is worse than Christianity.
Yeah.
However, I don't think that the bullshit that Christianity has done over the years should be unchecked either.
Okay, that sounds good though.
Mm.
Because I just think that like like there are a lot of people. I'm not like I don't know. I just find this like to be a little bit annoying that a lot of people are sort of tiptoeing around Christianity now because we sort of have an alliance now between Christians and atheists because we both are against Islam, and for good reason too, because I do recognize that Islam is probably the worst religion right now, in terms of power, in terms of like how many people follow their ideologies and how many countries base their laws based on that ideology. And you can't really say the same for Christianity, at least like.
Yeah, that's true. According to the data, it says that atheists in this country are least trusted than Muslims. And I kind of find it fascinating because, like, how could anybody say that, somebody not believing in a God is way worse than somebody who believes that non-believers should go to die?
Yeah, exactly. But going on the anti-SJW stuff, I know that you consider yourself a liberal, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have any issues criticizing the left. Actually, do you consider yourself like part of the left though?
I don't really care about like if I'm considered right or left. Like basically, like I personally believe in liberal values, and I call myself a liberal. So people have called me in the past like left wing or right wing. I personally don't care about those things. However, I think it's important for people to call out the bullshit no matter what side. And so I try to criticize not just the left on my channel, but also the right on my channel.
I see though. And let's see. We're gonna move on to a different topic right now. Because I noticed your channel just keeps getting better and better, man. You've had a strong interest in the Spanish language. Why would a racist Trump supporter like you be so interested in Spanish?
Oh my god.
That was a joke.
Okay. When I was 14 years old, I basically played this game for the PS2. It was called Resident Evil 4. I mean, nowadays, Resident Evil 4 is like on every single system. Like it's on the PS4, the PS3, the PC, the Xbox 360, the Xbox One. Like any system, it has Resident Evil 4 nowadays. But basically, when I was 14 years old, I played Resident Evil 4 on my PS2. And basically, I was exposed to Spanish that way. Like, of course, the game was bilingual. And obviously, I understood the parts with Leon S. Kennedy. However, when the villagers started to speak in Spanish, like I had no idea what they were saying. And so it was much later until I just, learned like some of the stuff that I realized that they were saying some really awful stuff to me. And it's kind of funny too. But basically my interest in Spanish came from that game. And also when I was in my teenage years, I went to an international camp in Maryland. We have so many different people from around the world. We had people from Brazil. We had people from Australia, also Spain and Latin America. There were like so many people from around the world at that camp. And so I started to get exposed to different languages. Like, of course, obviously it was like English, French, and Spanish. And I started to feel much more connection with like the Latin American culture and with Spanish people because of my interaction with these kind of people. And I think also when I was like, when I was in high school, I took 2 years in Spanish. And I'm not sure about like the state of like Florida or these other states, but like basically in my state of Maryland, like there's no like foreign language classes in elementary school or middle school. We're only required to have like 2 years of a foreign language.
Yeah. And
And so after those 2 years, you can just go and study even more so. And my classroom, basically, like there was like a lot of different options for languages. We had Japanese, we had French, we had Spanish. And I thought maybe I should just study Spanish because that's like the easiest one of the bunch.
It
Like
is.
Japanese, obviously, it's like pretty cool too, but I cannot write the kanji and any of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And I think my professor, she was Puerto Rican, I think. And basically, at first, it was like super, super, like any languages to learn is like super hard. And basically, I guess my interest basically comes down to just, like the people, the culture, the food. And I guess also we have a lot of proximity to Mexico too. At
Right.
one point, a lot of our states, like Texas, Florida, California, Arizona, Nevada, they were all once part of Mexico or Spain at one point before becoming part of the United States. And I think according to the data, 80% of us, we speak English, obviously.
Yeah.
However, there's like the 12%, I believe, that speak in Spanish in this country. And it makes like the United States the third largest Spanish country in America, like in the world right now. And also, I think according to the data, I think it was 90% of people in Miami speaking Spanish.
Yeah. I know. I live in Miami. Yeah, I see it all the time. Miami is basically an extension of Cuba.
Of course. It was like I heard like of course there's like a lot of people from Cuba, of course, because they want to flee from that dictatorship and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for anybody, not just Spanish, but any language for people to learn. Like I think people should learn a language not only for more opportunities, but also to interact with people, to enjoy culture, and to enjoy life. Yeah.
Okay. Very quick. Can you roll your R's?
Like,
All right.
it's pretty bad, I know.
Yeah. Don't worry. I can't do it either. And I was raised under a Latino family. I don't know why I can't do it for some reason. That's just weird. And
that's the thing. Like, I think the hardest thing for any language to learn is just pronunciation in general. Like,
yeah,
it's just so hard.
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing about Spanish, so like every word is like very like what you read is exactly how you say it, unlike English or other languages and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, like there's like this debate about pecan versus pecan, or the spelling of like donuts versus the other ways to spell donuts.
I don't know. There's a different way you can write donuts. I don't.
Yeah,
I didn't hear
basically
about
like
that.
the first way to spell donut is like DONUT, and the other way to spell it is like DOUGHNUT.
Oh my gosh.
I never heard about that. Okay, that's weird then. So how good would you say your Spanish is? Like if I were to insult you right now in Spanish, would you understand me?
I would say right now it's like at my beginner stage.
Alright, that's fine. So if I say, tú eres un hombre tan guapo, like would you understand what I just said?
You said you're like a man, a very smart man. Yeah.
Handsome man.
Handsome
yeah,
man.
that was
Sorry,
pretty close.
Close.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, okay, that wasn't an insult, but I just wanted to see you could catch that.
Not even an insult.
No, I just wanted you to like know that you're not faking it, so you can clearly know some Spanish.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I noticed that you also have an interest in like Latino culture in general, and specifically when it came to like the politics of what was happening in Catalonia. I remember you did a lot of videos on that, and I think one of your videos was actually on a Spanish news network or something, correct?
Yeah. I was featured on a Spanish news network called TVE, and I was shown across the whole entire country of Spain. And because of that little small clip of that video I did about Catalonia, I'm pretty famous in Spain right now, and that's another motivation on why I'm trying to learn right now. And there was like so many different articles about me and various outlets about that video I did about Catalonia. It's like I have so many links to show you guys once we're done with the show about what happened after I made that video about Catalonia.
Sure. Let's talk about Catalonia very quick, because I gotta be honest though. Back when I was when I heard of what was going on in Catalonia, I was like watching CNN and stuff like that. And initially, I was actually pretty pro Catalonia living Spain and stuff like that, because I've heard about what what the Spaniard police were doing to the Catalonians, I was like, oh, this is so bad for them. This is actual police brutality. But then I saw your video on it, and you weren't necessarily for either side. You were just being neutral and like showing the facts and stuff like that. And that sort of had me change my mind. So I don't even know if I'm pro Catalonia anymore, anti Catalonia.
My understanding about the situation, at least from my limited point of view, is basically like what's happening right now in Catalonia is basically like a lot of independence people. They want to be free from Spain, and they claim that they're oppressed underneath the Spanish government. And since I think the 1978, they had this new constitution for Spain. It was like the constitution of, I think, 1978. And basically all parts of Spain, including Catalonia, voted to be part of Spain, and also to vote to make sure that if they were to be independent from Spain, that the entire country has to vote in order to have independence. However, it's also worth noting that the constitution in Spain, it was created during the time after the Franco dictatorship.
Yeah.
And I guess like the whole entire country in general wanted to be united together instead of, divided, and wanted to have actual democracy instead of dictatorship. And so they were trying to vote to be like part of Spain because they didn't want to have like the oppression and stuff. However, like as time goes on, I heard a lot of different stories about what's happening in Catalonia. For example, I heard that a large part of independent Catalonians, they're trying to discriminate against people who have businesses in that place. For example, if somebody were to have like some sort of Spanish text onto like the businesses, they would try to find somebody for like having the Spanish on the business.
Oh, that's stupid.
There's also like apparently the educational system in Catalonia. What they're trying to do is that they're trying to teach like the kids who learn Spanish Catalonian.
Catalan.
Catalan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Catalan, but like they're not trying to teach them like the Spanish language either. And also, I heard more recently that when somebody tried to talk against Catalonia, what they're trying to do is basically attack or assault them. They did the exact same thing, I believe, in a university. Just the whole entire situation in Catalonia is so conflicting and it's so messed up.
Yeah, definitely. And like you also in your video, I remember you said about how how there was also like possible, I don't know if it was you that made the video. I think it was in your video. You noted how like the democratic election to like leave Catalonia wasn't exactly democratic in the sense like some people actually voted more than once.
Yeah, that's true. Like basically, according to the news clip I saw from like I think it was from social media on Twitter, what happened was that before the whole entire election even began, what happened was that there was a bunch of ballots that were in the voting booth before it actually happened. So they were cheating way before they actually tried to vote.
What the? That's messed up.
Yeah.
That's really messed up. So I actually, my view is I'm just neutral at this point because I don't know what to think. I have to do more research into the subject. But I really do like the fact that you've had a huge interest in Latino culture because, of course, I already mentioned before I'm Latino, Osvaldo Latino, and it's nice to see Americans interested in our culture. What do you have to say about this, Osvaldo?
Say what?
About Latino culture?
No, yeah, the fact that you're interested in is just great to know. And the fact that you're even learning the language and everything and getting involved with the politics is just pretty good.
Yeah, I actually have a notebook in front of me right now that has Spanish words, so I'm not trying to fake it either. I try to, basically every day what I try to do is on my Twitter page, I write in Spanish and my followers will try to correct my grammar. And so I'm not trying to fake any of this.
Okay.
Yeah, like you have an actual passion for it. That's good.
Yes.
Have you actually ever done a live stream where you only like spoke Spanish?
Have I ever? Let me try to think right now. I know for a fact I did plenty of live streams that were bilingual. Like I know that there was this guy from Spain. His name was Nacho Gonzalez, and I interviewed him. And basically, he was like a director of a documentary. It was called Silenciados.
Yeah.
And what happened with that case with that documentary was a bunch of feminists tried to protest this movie and call it sexist and machista, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And basically we're just having a conversation about like the controversy behind the movie. I also talked to many Spanish feminists. I don't think I've done a stream that was completely in Spanish. I think I've done bilingual streams, but hopefully when I go to a point where I feel comfortable enough to, talk to other people, I'll try to do more streams in Spanish completely.
That sounds really good. Have you ever been to any like places, Spanish speaking places before?
No, but it's quite common to see bilingual signs where I live. Like when I go on the bus, like the signs are bilingual.
Yeah.
There are some stores that are also bilingual, so I get more exposure to the words that way.
But is there like a significant Hispanic population where you live?
I can't really tell you data-wise because I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Well, maybe just from personal experience,
Yeah, there's a lot of Hispanics here, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I think you live somewhere in Maryland, Emily?
Yeah, Maryland.
Okay. And, what else I was going to say? What do you like about Latino culture, Tyler?
I think what I like the most is the food.
Definitely, yeah.
Definitely the food. I know some of my favorite dishes. At least I can't really say for Cuban culture because I haven't tried their food yet.
That's fine.
But for Mexican culture, I like the tacos, the burritos, quesadillas, the nachos. The food is really good. I also the stuff like at Taco Bell and Chipotle. That kind of stuff is fake compared to actual authentic Mexican food.
Really? No, I thought that was authentic Mexican food.
Wait, what?
I'm just kidding. No.
But basically, when I went to like Albuquerque, New Mexico, I actually tried authentic Mexican food for the first time, and it tastes so much better and so much fresher.
Oh, hell yeah, it does.
Like the Chipotle and the Taco Bell.
Definitely, yeah. But you should try like other Latino food. Like personally, my background is not Cuban. Even my background is I was born here, but like my parents are Salvadoran. There's some really nice Salvadoran food, and Nicaraguans are known for their steak called carne asada, and some really good food from Honduras. And definitely, I'd recommend try any sort of dish from South America, Colombian, Peruvian. It's really good food there for sure.
Yeah, I also heard that the Argentinians are also well known for their barbecue too.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, at least from my friend from Argentina. I have plenty of friends from Argentina.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I don't really know that many Argentinians. It's mostly in Miami. It's mostly like Cubans, Nicaraguans, Colombians, and mainly people from Central America. But I can't say I know that many Argentinians. No. I mean, have you ever had Argentinian food, Osvaldo?
No, not really.
Yeah, I don't know what they eat. I imagine it's a lot of seafood because they're close to the ocean. Let's see. So, where do you see yourself in 10 years, Tyler?
Oh, that's a very good question. Like typically I do things in the heat of the moment and I look into the future what I did. In 10 years time I'm hoping to maybe just, be like a content creator, not just for YouTube, but basically to make any kind of video, like any kind of production revolving video production. I always had an interest in video production ever since I was little. There was not like a moment in time where I cannot remember not having a camera in my hands. And when I was in middle school, I used to take like communication classes and play with the camera that way. I was also taught various skills like editing or sound production, that kind of stuff. And so I always had an interest in mass communication. And hopefully 10 years time, I would just, work in the industry and just make video productions that way.
Do you have any interest in like maybe I don't know like if you have like a college degree or anything like that?
Basically no, not yet, but I have a certification for editing for Final Cut Pro.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I remember I used to use Final Cut Pro in my classroom.
Yeah, the computer that I'm using right now is actually an Apple iMac.
But do you have Final Cut Pro though? It's a really expensive software.
Yeah, I have Final Cut Pro and also Movie Maker. Not Movie Maker, but iMovie, sorry.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I just use I have a PC, so I just use Adobe. Adobe's awesome. Let's see. Osvaldo, do you have any questions for Tyler?
Sorry, I take a while to answer because my sisters are here, so I have to like turn off my mic and turn it back on to not like bother the conversation.
It's okay, don't worry about it.
No, not really. I'm just in the background.
All right, that's fine. Let's see. I had a lot of things to ask you though, but like I wrote some of them down and some of them I didn't write them down.
You're like, I can remember.
I can remember some of them. You know, is there anything you would like to talk about, Tyler?
Okay, well, we talked about religion, we talked about Latino culture, we talked about Spanish. Let's talk about, I guess, my thoughts about prostitution.
Why do you want to talk about prostitution?
Okay. The main reason why I want to talk about it is because I haven't made a video about it yet, and I think it's a good time to talk about what my personal thoughts about it is.
All right.
Okay. Okay, basically, I'm actually in favor of legalization, and the main reason why I'm in favor of legalization is because I feel as though that ultimately isn't transaction between two consensual adults, and I don't think that, people should go to jail or get fined simply for, doing consensual acts. It was like a quotation from George Carlin, and I believe he says somewhere in the lines of like, paying is legal, fucking is legal, why not paying fucking is illegal or something. And so I think that people should be allowed to, have prostitution. I believe there were some European countries where when they legalize prostitution, what happens is that they basically regulate what happens. And because we don't really legalize prostitutions, the prostitution is now in the hands of the pimp, whereas in European countries, that's not the case at all. And the only state that has prostitution legalized, to my knowledge, is Nevada.
Yeah, but I heard that Nevada, like, it's only outside of New Vegas, though. I'm sorry, Las Vegas. I'm thinking of Fallout.
Las Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas.
New Vegas.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a huge Fallout fan. Have you ever played Fallout, by the way?
I need to.
You have to. It's either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. Because of all the glitches and whatnot.
Did they fix the glitches?
Some of them, yeah, some of them not really. Yeah, use mods. Always use mods, yeah. But so I was gonna ask you, what happened to your old YouTube channel?
What happened was basically I was flagged down, I believe, by people who didn't really like the videos that I have up on my channel. At first I had about 40,000 subscribers before my first channel got shut down, and then later on, thanks to the shutdown, I got now about 17,000 subscribers on my channel. And before my popularity in Spain, I had about 14,000. So I guess Spain really likes me to make me have 17,000 now.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, but that's a real shame, Tyler. You had a lot of great videos in your channel, and I know some of them were uploading some other channel. They were mirrored, but it's a real shame because that's sort of like it's sort of nice to like sort of look back and like kind of see how you were back then and see you like improve in your quality and content.
Yeah. It's so strange to see my old videos compared to the videos of today. It's just so strange because like not only did I start to show more confidence, but also like have better production quality and editing and my introduction, obviously. It's like you said, my introduction was originally like some sort of airplane, I think, and now it's like a major theme song for my opening now.
No, that's a great theme song, and I like all the versions of it. I know there's a metal version, a Spanish version now. That's brand new, I believe.
It
Uh,
is.
yeah, and also, did you draw that picture of yourself at the end of the video?
No, no, no. It was my friend. I think he's another YouTuber on YouTube. His name is Aficionados Chris. He drew that for me.
Oh, that's really nice of him because I think that's a great photo. Looks, yeah.
As far as this avatar is, like somebody drew that avatar for me too. I didn't ask for somebody to do it, but they drew it for me.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely that's a really nice avatar for sure. But is there any hope that you can get your old channel back, or it's just gone forever?
I think it'll be gone forever.
Oh, that's a real shame.
But hopefully I'll just repost my old videos on my channel. There are some old videos right now on my current channels that I reposted, so people can look in those videos to see how I just changed over the years.
Okay, so I remember one thing I was meaning to ask you. So I call myself classy liberal, so you can sort of kind of guess what my political sort of philosophy is. I'm a classical liberal. I believe in individual rights, in freedom. Above anything, whether it's equality or tradition, I think freedom and individualism is extremely important. Do you still consider yourself a classical liberal, or have you walked away from that label?
Personally, I'm at a point in my life where I don't really care much about political labels.
Sure, that's
I mean,
fair.
ultimately, I think like my idea should speak more than my affiliation. However, in terms of the idea of liberty and free speech and guns, I think those things kind of remain the same back when I call myself a classic liberal. Yeah.
Okay, so on the topic of free speech, I remember you tweeted one time saying that you're not a free speech absolutist. I know that's a very popular term right now to say in the anti-SJW spirit that I am a free speech absolutist. But I think you quoted that like there's certain reasonable restrictions you can have on free speech.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, when I say like I'm not a free speech absolutist, basically what I'm trying to say is that free speech, even like in the most freest country like our country, is still not absolute. Like there obviously are laws against libel, slander, as well as incitement to violence. Additionally, there are also like preventions of not trying to leak out official government documents. And I think there are really good reasons to, have those things. I think there should be safeguards when people start to lie about you and you can actually sue them for lying about you in a publication. I also think that it's also reasonable to not make sure that there are enemies in other countries try to get the secret of our documentation. And I think that ultimately when it comes down to incitement to violence, that also that they should investigate the person who incited the violence against another person. Otherwise, I think that any kind of speech is acceptable, whether it's like blasphemy or blasphemy, hate speech, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Basically, like any kind of speech outside of like slander, incitement to violence, and libel, I think that kind of speech is okay.
Would you say like someone like Amos Yee is a free speech absolutist? Then
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God, Amos Yee. Oh my. Okay, I'm trying to calm down right now. Okay, basically Amos Yee, I think like he told me before that he wanted to have all kind of free speech. So yes, I would say yes.
The guy's really radical. So Osvaldo, I don't know if you remember Amos Yee, but he was that Asian
Yeah,
YouTuber I showed.
I can't forget that guy.
Oh,
Like,
you
one of
okay?
his videos, but I can't forget him.
Okay, yeah. He's the only like sort of person that like I know that's like in the whole whatever political sphere of YouTube, whatever you want to call it, that has actually advocated for the legalization of pedophilia. Now, to clarify, he's not a pedophile himself. He said that many times, but he does believe that it should be legal, and that he also well, he's of course child pornography should be. I think the first video he made was advocating for child pornography, but if you advocate for child pornography, you also have to advocate for pedophilia, because how can you I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. And then like he also says he supports NAMBLA now, the National Men Boy Love Association. Sorry, I made you explode.
Oh God. It's hard to get a straight face after this. Okay. Yeah, I think when it comes down to people like Amos Yee, like he's like a special case of crazy. So I don't think anybody's nearly as crazy as him.
I mean, there's a chance it could just be a troll. I mean, the guy has been known to like basically make up lies before, and it wouldn't surprise me if like either he's so committed to like this free speech absolutist thing that he's willing to say anything to say, hey, look, I'm so for free speech. I support pedophilia now.
Yeah,
But
it's like even if he was trolling, and I will grant you, like maybe he might be trolling. Like even if he was trolling, I still think it's still a bad idea to just say that kind of stuff to just ruin your reputation like that. Like I'm still kind of surprised he's not kicked out of this country because of the stuff he said about this.
yeah, exactly. And it's weird though, because I remember this dude. I was following for many years now. At first he was just, criticizing Singaporean government, making videos on religion, all that good stuff. And then I remember he made a video about like egalitarianism, where he was basically talking about how we should like restrict the voting rights of certain people. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
He showed a video of like the Singaporean president saying how like the races are not equal, or something like that, and how basically like Jews are like the supreme race. Then he was an anarcho-capitalist. He said that America was founded on anarcho-capitalist values. Then I think yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, he was like an anarch. He was like a liberal at one point. He was like, I think it was like what was that person's name? It was like a liberal at first, and it was like an Ayn Rand or something.
Ayn Rand, objectivist.
Okay,
Yeah,
he was
Ayn
that.
Rand. Yeah.
Ayn Rand. He was a liberal. He was an anarcho capitalist, now an anarcho communist. Like, just he doesn't really stick to one type of political ideology to define himself. He just like different ones every time you make a video.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's lying, maybe he's trolling. I have no idea. The world may never know. But I just want to make that interesting case, because in terms of like being a free speech absolutist, he's like the only person that would advocate for that. I think most people would be okay with the First Amendment and just leave it at that.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, basically, I think the First Amendment is something that every country should adapt. I know that a lot of countries, like especially in European countries, they don't really value free speech as much as we do. Like, I heard, of course, recently in Scotland with that Scottish guy, Count Dankula, I believe his name is. Yeah, basically Count Dankula was getting arrested. I think he was getting arrested for some dog joke with the Nazi pug. And there's also the case with a lot of the knife situation with the mayor saying that there's no reason to have knives at all. And so I don't think a lot of countries really value freedom as much as we do. And I think they should aspire to be more like us.
No, I definitely would agree, though. Britain's one of those interesting places where they're kind of known for their kind of free speech culture, since technically a lot of thinkers from Britain did sort of influence that whole concept. People like John Locke, the Enlightenment era. A lot of those famous thinkers came from Britain, for sure, though. And it's always occurred to me, it seems like Britain, or the UK in general, has a sort of kind of free speech culture. They don't really have political correctness like we do here. But at the same time, they don't have a First Amendment. They don't have any actual, like, guarantee that you could say whatever you want and not worry about the police actually, like, arresting you or anything like that. I find that really interesting.
Yeah, basically anything that's deemed to be racist or Islamophobic will get you in trouble. Like I know for a fact that this guy named Tommy Robinson, he got arrested so many times for speaking out against Islam.
Yeah.
And I believe more recently it was also some person named Lauren Southern. She basically got in trouble for saying that Allah was gay, and I think she was banned from the country because she said Allah was gay. And it's kind of
Well,
fun.
I mean, some people have criticized Lauren Southern because she also has had some involvement with Generation X, which is sort of like a far right group, and like there was just like a lot of shady behavior from her. I don't think it was just a like. I mean, definitely, yeah. I'm not gonna lie and say that like there aren't like social justice wars in UK that just wanna get anyone that's anti-Islam or has a reasonable criticism of Islam like out of the country. But I think there were some bad parts from Laura Southern. Like I've seen multiple YouTube users like Billy Bong and Nightmare View make videos on her, and it's just there's a lot of shady stuff from her. I mean, she was banned from, not banned, maybe like
I think she
kick-
was kicked out from Italy.
yeah, she was kicked out from Italy for sending flares against like migrant
Yeah,
ships or
basically what
something.
happened was that she recorded herself, I think, on Periscope, where she and Generation Identity went to I guess, some boats, and they were trying to stop the boats, and they have flares, and she went like a night in jail because of what she did, and it was illegal against the law, and I think she left Italy after that.
I mean, that's just insane though. Like I'm personally not a big fan of the whole mass migration thing, but like that's kind of messed up. You could have actually killed people from doing that. I go on.
Yeah, I think the best way to, settle the whole entire immigration situation, one, if you want to actually run for power. Two,
Sure.
just, have reasonable conversations with people and solve issues that way, not trying to put things in your own hand.
Okay. Talking to more Latinos and Hispanics, would you say you're more open to immigration now?
Me personally, I think that when it comes down to immigration, I think that people should be judged based upon their past histories and also what it can contribute to society. Like, I think, for example, that the Mexicans that are crossing our borders illegally, that's not fair to the other people that came to this country legally. And I think that, I guess, the only kind of exception that I can think of where people coming to this country is okay without having to do it legally,
Sure.
it might be like the Cubans because of their situation and what's happening with the Castros in power. And
Okay.
also, I think as far as like skill level is concerned, like people should also be judged by their skills. Like obviously, there were people in the past, like Albert Einstein, that went to this country and actually contribute to the sciences that way, and other various immigrants. Like I know there was also Jim Carrey. He was originally from Canada, and he helped contribute a lot to the movie industry. So I think they should be into this country based upon their skill level, as well as to be double check about their background and not just let any other person inside of our country.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. But are you for or against like building the whole wall across the border?
Oh God! Oh, the whole wall thing.
Yeah.
You know, I thought like the whole purpose of like our national the border control was to guard against the illegals, but I'm not sure. Like, I just don't know how to feel about it, honestly.
Okay. You did vote for Trump, right?
Yeah, I did.
Do you regret that vote?
And in some ways, I do regret the vote. Like he's been doing so much stupid stuff as of late. Like
Yeah.
so much stupid stuff. Have you guys heard about what happened with the video game stuff and how he claims that video games causes
No, he
violence?
didn't say that. You're kidding me. He actually said that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
did.
did.
Oh.
Oh my god, it was just so stupid. There was also a video of like the White House, basically on their White House YouTube page. they have a video compilation of video games and violent scenes, and then
Oh,
just
I have to check that
upload.
out.
It's actually unlisted, but I'll try to find the unlisted link for you.
Yeah, I have to check that out because I did not hear about that. Personally, I have a lot of mixed feelings about Trump. There's some things I like about him. There's some things, a lot of things. I'm sorry that I disagree with him, for sure. I don't hate him like some people do. I don't think he's like the worst thing to happen to the country, or I don't think he's in any way some sort of white nationalist alt writer
Yeah,
type of
yeah, it's
person.
kind of funny because I believe when Charlottesville, Virginia happened, like people expected him to apologize for the actions of the white nationalists or the white supremacists there. And I believe there was like a YouTube clip of the various times of him trying to, condemn white nationalists over the years. And
Yeah,
so,
there's a lot of videos of him condemning David Duke, KKK, white nationalist. Like you can find it out there, like, and I just don't think a guy whose daughter is Jewish is somehow white supremacist or what
I
alt right
also
or whatever.
I don't like also the fact that he has Jeff Sessions in power. Like, as you know, the marijuana situation basically on a federal level is illegal. However, states like Washington, California, Colorado, Alaska has marijuana legal at a state level for recreational use. And I don't like the fact that his person Jeff Sessions wants to crack down on marijuana and try to imprison people.
Yeah, definitely though, and a lot of people were like, pointing out that one of the positives about Trump, like, he wasn't like gonna do anything when it came to gay marriage. Like he was fine with that, and he was basically silent on the whole drug issues and like legalizing drugs and stuff like that. But I don't know, whatever. I guess like some of the people Trump hangs out with, clearly like still have these really backwards views when it comes to like the social issues. What do you
Yeah, I
say?
believe that the person that he hired for what was it? It was for NASA, I believe. I think he was also trying to say something that like climate change doesn't happen, and so I think he picked that person too.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah.
tweeted that it's a hoax from the Chinese. So
Yeah, yeah. It's,
yeah.
it's just, there's a lot of stuff I don't like about Trump, but there's also a lot of stuff that I like about Trump, and I think his biggest strength so far is just the immigration policies.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get reelected in 2020. I have like no idea what's gonna happen. Like I can't. I predicted Hillary Clinton was gonna win the election, but I was obviously wrong. So I have no idea who's gonna like what's gonna happen.
I heard that Bernie Sanders is going to run in 2020.
I doubt it. The guy's old. Yeah, come on. He's
But as far as the candidates, they need to find somebody, that's actually not like Clinton, and find somebody that's actually a real liberal to run against them
sure.
because, well, like the whole entire situation, what happened to Bernie Sanders was just awful, really awful. Like I remember, like it all ties back to the atheism subject earlier in the stream.
Yeah.
Basically, like in the leaked emails of the Democratic convention, they were trying to make sure that Bernie Sanders lose because they want to use atheism against Bernie Sanders, I believe.
Yeah, because I guess Bernie Sanders is kind of silent when it comes to his own religious views, and I think he's even said before that he's not that religious. I mean, he says he's Jewish, but it's possible he might just be like a secular Jew, because his religion isn't like really a big part of his life, at least uh, based on interviews and stuff like that. That's kind of a really shady thing to do to like, use someone's and like they don't even know what his true religious views. He just doesn't, he doesn't want like people to vote for him just because he's religious or non-religious or whatever. Um,
Yeah, and I think they should try to find a less corruptible politician, unlike Clinton. Like, basically, they need to find somebody that would actually, have a clean history, or at least a semi-clean history, and
sure.
actually focus on like the issues that people care about, which is right now marijuana. I guess, yeah, marijuana, marijuana and Islam.
No, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
By the way, what's your thoughts on like the Libertarian Party?
I haven't researched much about them, but from what I saw so far about that clip of that guy just dancing naked in front of people, that was just awful.
Yeah, it doesn't give like a good name for libertarianism.
And it was also this guy, I believe it was Gary Johnson. Was that his name?
Gary Johnson, yes, yeah.
Yeah, Gary Johnson. Basically, he did a lot of stupid stuff and said a lot of stupid stuff too. So they're not looking good right now for me.
No, and it's really embarrassing to say to people that I've actually voted for Gary Johnson. And my argument is like, okay, for every like one stupid thing Gary Johnson says, there's at least 10 stupid things that Donald Trump has said. So, and I mean, look, I don't think the guy's perfect. The guy has lots of flaws, I'm not gonna lie. But I just think that he was like the only like candidate that was the closest to someone that was principled, in a way though. And of course, the other alternative was Jill Stein. She said that that Wi-Fi causes radiation or cancer or something like that. I just I can't support that.
Yeah, it's like nobody really won during the election with Trump and Clinton and everybody else. Nobody won.
No. So I think that's all for now. I definitely would love to talk to you more, Tyler. There's a lot of things I definitely want to talk to you, but Osvaldo, do you have like anything you would like to ask him? Hello? I don't know if he's there. Is your microphone working? Let me give me a sec. Let me read messages, man. Tyler, would you like to advertise yourself?
Sure, my YouTube channel is TylerPreston20. My social media accounts on Facebook and Twitter is at TylerPreston20. And if you want to message me, my DMs are always open. And also to check out my channel and also to support, I guess, whatever Spanish journey I have.
Yeah. Okay, sounds really good. I think it's been a good podcast episode. What did you say, Tyler?
Sure. It's really fun and it's awesome to finally talk to you too.
Thank you very much. So this has been the second episode of the Classy Liberal Podcast. Again, if you would like to check out Tyler's Preston's YouTube channel, I'll leave a description and link below. And until next time. Thank you for tuning in on the Classy Liberal Podcast. If you'd like to receive updates on future podcast episodes, then consider giving me a follow on Twitter. If you like this podcast, then I recommend you check out my YouTube channel. I have other videos on many topics. If you really enjoy the show and would like to support me, then consider becoming a Patreon on my Patreon. Thank you very much.